what else do we need to think about? The late maintenance that's costing a lot of money if you wait too long.
hmm I would say roof check.
Yeah, roof check.
We have regular hailstorms. We have regular windstorms. You don't have to wait until you see a sign in front of your neighbor's yard that says their roof is getting replaced after a windstorm. It would be best after major storms. Don't call your insurance company,
No, no.
but call your real estate professional that helped you and or a local non-ambulance chasing roofer and ask them to come do a check.
And I'm Mark, and we're the Real Estate Dream Team.
Oh my gosh, Mark, why the heck should they listen to yet another real estate podcast? Well, I will share my why, and that is we'd love to tell you how to get those keys the smart way.
And help you crank those gears that turn your dreams into homes.
There you go. Let's roll,
Let's
baby.
roll, baby.
Howdy, y'all. I am Bess Dixon, and I am here with my buddy Mark Leesner, and I am a full-time problem solver, matchmaker, real estate professional in Dallas, and Mark is lender extraordinaire. And welcome to today's amazing home that we decided to bring you to. And some of the feedback we got from y'all was that you'd like to see more of what we're talking about. So we thought we'd call you out on that, or we'd call ourselves out on that. Stumble, Bess. Anyway, I start bringing you into these amazing spaces. So today we are in the living room of a 110-year-old home, a craftsman that below us, we're upstairs in the attic, and below us is a Dude Sweet chocolate shop.
Yes.
And
Fabulous handmade chocolate.
Dark chocolate. Excuse my nose. Yeah, it's fantastic by Catherine. And she is a force to be reckoned with in the chocolate world in Dallas. And actually in the entire United States of America, people reach out and want her chocolate from all over the place, which, by the way, fun fact, you can join her monthly chocolate club. So if you're looking for high quality, truly organic, low sugar, I discovered, or I've known her for a while, but I really got into it during my battle with cancer because mushrooms are a great cancer fighter. And she actually uses a lot of mushrooms in her dark chocolate. It's healthy.
Love it. You could buy them online.
And you can buy them online.
Sweet chocolate.
Dude Sweet
Dallas,
chocolate.
Texas.
Yeah. Anyway, and so
Bishop Arts District
is where the shop is located.
historic.
One of the secret neighborhoods, semi-secret neighborhoods in Dallas. It is just across the Trinity River. And the fun thing about Oak Cliff is it is, in fact, geographically speaking, what the name says. And that is, it's limestone cliffs along the bank of the Trinity River. And it is, in fact, covered with loads of oak trees. It really is hilly. And geologically speaking, it is the beginning of Texas Hill Country, which is fun because Dallas itself, on the other side of the Trinity River, is the bottom of the Great Plains of the United States of America. So it's where the plains end and Hill Country begin. There you go. So a lot of people think of Dallas as like, just cattle fields and ranches or flat and all the things. And there's actually, here we are. So
and lots of trees, lots of greenery.
Mhm,
Beautiful place to live.
Beautiful place to live. If you love live music, one of the best places acoustically to enjoy a show is the Kessler Theater. It's pretty much original. It's almost exactly the way it was when it was originally built. It's just up the road on Davis Street. I actually am going to go see Stuart Copeland in just a little bit. So I think there's a few tickets left. You should come join. Anyway, great stuff. We love sharing neighborhoods with you, and that's part of what we're going to do moving forward.
1920s teens.
And great parks, loads of parks. That's right. Well, it was the Dallas getaway for the weekend.
That's right.
Actually. And that's why at one point it wasn't its own incorporated entity before it became part of Dallas.
Lots of history here.
Lots of history. It used to be the way you got to Oak Cliff was by boat because there was no bridge.
Yeah. Love it.
All of it. Oh, and final little tidbit is, have you ever heard of these people called Bonnie and Clyde? Well, Bonnie met Clyde right here in Oak Cliff. And until recently, you could actually go drive by Clyde's family's gas station where he was living when he and Bonnie met, just over here. And I believe that diner is still around.
It is, yeah.
Where they met at, Bonnie and Clyde.
Lots of history.
Yeah, lots of music. Boy, we could just wax poetic about Oak Cliff.
Yes.
All that. If you would like to discover it on your own, drop a a message to Mark or I, and we will connect you to how to take the space. It does have a bedroom with it. It is available for nightly rates, and we'll give you all the details because it's a great place.
Right in the middle.
It's in the heart of everything. I love it. I love it. So, Mark, the reason I wanted to come here today is because we wanted to talk about delayed maintenance. What? Well, you and I both know homes are always happiest, just like children, when you just do a little bit of care and love every single day. And that's one reason why we want to bring you to this fantastic home is that it is over 100 years old and still,
and it wouldn't be here
still kicking.
if it hadn't been maintained.
Right. And it's those little things added up over time that make a big difference. In fact, all these buildings around here, it's a very good reflection of the care and keeping that if it's done well, what it means. It can last for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about the little things that you might think, oh, I'll do later that end up being crazy, crazy expensive. I think in North Texas, we'd all agree number one would be that little crack that develops at windows and doorways.
I mean, that's, the houses have, like your human body, have organs, right? Certain systems that have to be operational in order to sustain life of the house. And one of those is the foundation. It's the foundation of everything. No pun intended. But it's, it's holding your house up. And if that's somewhat moving around, then it's crumbling. Then the house is crumbling. So, little fixes in the foundation, meaning adjustments, small adjustments are much, much cheaper than waiting until those problems become much larger.
Right.
And then you're talking about adding piers, or fixing the slab and tearing up the floors and, doing all kinds of stuff instead of just maintaining it as you go along. Again, you're protecting your investment in the house, right? You want to pay yourself back when you do sell the house, and you can't sell a house that has a foundation problem.
Right. And so the number one care and keeping tip for taking care of that foundation is to channel your inner Will Smith, i.e. Hitch. Everybody's seen that movie Hitch, or that fantastic moment where he's talking about where's the best place to dance? It's right here in the middle. And it's the same thing with your foundation. It wants to be right here in the middle, not too wet and not too dry. So talking about delayed, a short-term cost now, if you ignore it, could be a long-term cost. You need to water in North Texas. You need to water your foundation on a regular basis. So because of that, when Texas does have water restrictions, which does happen June, July, August, September sometimes as well, your foundation soaker hose is always exempt from that water restriction.
It slowly drips water into the ground. It just seeps water instead of spraying water.
So the short-term costs are higher than your neighbor who's ignoring his foundation water bill is actually a smart cost because you're talking about maybe $25 to $30 more a month to cover that watering of your foundation. Versus, this week I had a real life quote for nearly $100,000 to repair a foundation as well as to replace all the pipes because the foundation had failed to the point that it had crushed the pipes that were in the foundation. And so now, anyway, so don't go there.
And by the way, if you have a sprinkler system, make sure that the sprinkler heads are not over watering the foundation.
Great tip too.
Because some houses have sprinkler systems. In that case, you must have a soaker hose around in the summer, at least, or in the summer. Even in winter, we get dry. The soil gets too dry. So clay soil in North Texas expands. The more water it has, the more it expands. The less water it has, the more it contracts, meaning it either is supporting the house, but if it gets too wet, then it's over supporting the house and it breaks the foundation in the opposite way of not falling down, but it cracks it upwards. It moves the house up too much. So you don't want that. But back to the sprinkler heads, I see a lot of sprinkler heads that are failing and overwatering parts of the foundation. And that's causing that part of the house to heave up, to come up, and then causing issues that the homeowner was unaware because they weren't checking their sprinkler heads. Right.
Agreed.
Sprinkler companies are not foundation companies. They just put sprinkler heads wherever they want. And sometimes they're just in the worst place.
Right. Like right where your lawn guy rolls over them and chews them up.
Oh, yeah.
And so you have Old Faithful every other night when you're watering and you have no idea. Along those lines, talking about short-term expenses for long-term gain or short-term expenses to avoid long-term evil expenses. I don't know if that was a sentence. Oh well.
We'll go
It's
with it.
is to get in the habit of walking your house when the sprinklers are on about once a month or so, and just check. Another house I was just at had all brand new siding all the way around, and it was because and they're like, we just feel like we just had it painted and we just did this and now we're doing it again. Well, during inspection, my inspector was like, well, 5 of these heads are directed against
At
the
the house.
siding,
Yeah.
against the house. So these poor people have just spent all this money twice. If they had just taken the time, once a month, to just walk around and see what's happening with the sprinklers, they would have saved themselves thousands of dollars
That's my
on
point.
siding,
That's my point.
plus all the bugs and things that are attracted to over moisture.
What else do we need to think about? Delayed maintenance that's costing a lot of money if you wait too long.
Hmm. I would say roof check.
Yeah. Roof check.
We have regular hailstorms. We have regular windstorms. You don't have to wait until you see a sign in front of your neighbor's yard that says their roof is getting replaced after a windstorm. It would be best after major storms. Don't call your insurance company.
No.
Call your real estate professional that helped you and or a local non-ambulance chasing roofer and ask them to come do a check. My go-to roofer, he averages anywhere from 500 to maybe $900 to patch and fix a roof. And that includes like recaulking over nail heads that get exposed or replacing this one little patch where the
Yeah.
wind caught it and ripped it.
That happens a lot.
But
Yeah.
the rest of the roof is just fine. Yes, I mean, $900 is not super fun to let go of because that's like a round trip ticket to Europe or something. But it's way better than thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for a new roof.
Is what happens next time it rains. That part of the roof is going to start leaking, and you're not going to notice that leak until it's much too late
Mm-hmm.
because it's very slowly coming into the house, causing
Mhm.
all kinds of issues along the way. And that can take, I mean, I've sold houses where that was the case for years, and they only found out because they were selling the house, and then somebody figured that out. And now it was thousands and
Mhm.
thousands and 1000s of dollars.
And another deal along those lines, a good roofer will go ahead, if you have a chimney, will go ahead and check that chimney cap.
Lot
Make
of
sure
leaks.
that's flashing. The chimney caps literally getting blown off is one of the biggest causes of long-term home issues that no one is aware of because
That's right.
it only, the chimney cap. So the chimney, the water comes in and it soaks through that brick and it only shows up when it rains. It's good to be smart about that. And it's a heck of a lot cheaper to call a roofer than certainly every time. Just think of it too. Talking about short term expense and long term gain. Think of it every time you call your insurance company, you are costing yourself money.
Yeah.
Even if they don't pay a claim every time you call, they're making a note that you called. Just stay away from
And
the phone when it
and
comes to
at
insurance.
some point, if you've had too many claims over a short span of time, your house becomes uninsurable. So that's another reason why not to call the insurance company until you know what's happening. And is it worth calling the insurance company for that claim? If you have a $30,000 roof claim, yeah, call the insurance company
But
But-
you would make that call after you already called your roofer to
That's
do a
right.
check.
to check it. That's right. Next up for me is the HVAC system. So many people just take it for granted and never do anything to maintain it, right? And it's really something that you can do yourself mostly, which is, take out the filters once every quarter. Every quarter, change out the filters, no matter if it's winter or summer. Next up is cleaning the outside condenser units that are outside of the house.
Those
The
boxes.
big fan boxes. They need cleaning during the summer, especially summer, because, pollen and grass and all kinds of things get stuck to it. And if that can't breathe, it won't cool the house in the sufficient amount of time. And it's going to overwork that condenser unit outside. What else?
The cap of bleach down
Yeah,
the pipe.
For the pipe, you may notice that a lot of water is running out of your overflow pipe. That's an overflow pipe.
Yes.
Or, if you see any kind of water dripping and it's continuous dripping,
Or if you see a line of rust on the side of your
that's
house.
right. Call your HVAC person. And if you don't have one, call a real estate professional and get a reputable, not a guy who's trying to make work for himself, but a
Right.
person.
Well, and a home hack on that along those lines is at least once a year during a non-busy season,
Right.
call an HVAC guy
Yeah.
that you know, like, and trust, and ask him to come out and do a tune-up. Ask him to do a system tune-up, and you will need to ask him to include changing the filter at that time because most of them won't do that unless you ask them
right.
to specifically. And you want them to because I'll be vulnerable with y'all. I try to be up to date on things. I had party foul with my HVAC system recently, and that is I changed the filter with the right size.
Yeah.
Okay. Found out from my favorite HVAC guy when shortly after doing that, it started making a funky sound. And I was like, maybe what did I do? All I did was change the filter. I did
Right.
not think I did anything. He's like, oh, well, because you changed it with you have this kind of system and because you put in this kind of filter, they don't jive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so that is what's going basically what you're
Wow.
talking about is it was making because of the way the filter was
Probably the density of it.
manufactured. Yes, the density of it. It was making the very aging system that I'm trying to nurse
Overworking
along,
it.
trying to make it it was having to overwork. And so that's why it was making that sound. It was like all of us, it was panting.
Yes,
Like
it
when we're
was
working too hard and we start
working too-
panting. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really bad. So he's like, oh, Bess, no, you just did he goes, everyone does this.
Right.
And if I had not called him because of the sound, and now I feel bad because I had meant to call him as a checkup before winter, and I didn't get around to it. So
Mhm.
instead of paying $250 for just an annual checkup maintenance, I ended up paying like $400 for an emergency 911 call.
That's right.
I discovered that I had accidentally caused my own problem. There you go.
Do the maintenance, schedule it before it gets cold and before it gets hot. Because when it gets hot or cold, those guys are slammed. They will
Yes.
be busy nonstop because everybody's calling them that hasn't maintained their
So
system.
you will
It's not
pay.
working.
I haven't slept in a week,
That's
but you
right.
will pay that.
Do yourself a favor. What else can we talk about that's deferred maintenance? To me, the outside of the house gets very little attention from most people.
Yes.
And it's, like any kind of woodwork on the outside.
Yes.
You got to really inspect that because water, the elements get to it, right? And I've seen a lot of very expensive repairs that had to do with woodwork that just wasn't taken care of in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, do yourself a favor and climb up on the ladder maybe and look at some of that wood up close and see if it's gotten, especially if it's painted, it's sometimes hard to tell.
Well, and along
you
those
know.
lines, I think double check those gutters
Yeah, the gutters.
because the
need to
gutters
be-
are attached to
that's
a
right.
wood fascia generally. Excuse me.
No.
And if the gutters get full of stuff, then when it does rain, the water goes the wrong way. It goes against the house and then comes
Along the
down.
side of
And
the
so, and then the gutters, it's awful. The gutters hold that water against the wood fascia and it just rots it like a son of a gun.
And
Even if you have, by the way, even if you have gutter guards, you
No,
still
yeah.
need to
Yes.
check.
Yes, don't believe the TV ads. The other thing about gutters that brings up jogs my memory. One of the issues I found with when gutters are clogged, a lot of insects come from that, like termites, wood destroying ants.
If you
things that
suddenly
cost
are
money.
having like oddball issues with like roaches showing up in your kitchen
Yes, you
and
got
you
too
have
much
not
water.
ever had that before, that I hate to give the roaches like a attaboy,
Yeah, that's
but
they're kind of canary in the coal mine.
they are canary in the coal mine. They are letting you
If-
know
if-
there's something
if you-
going on with
if
the
you're
house.
keeping a clean house.
If you're
Yeah.
keeping a clean house.
If your house is
Yes.
clean, then
Because
roaches shouldn't be there.
roaches are drawn to
They
moisture.
love water.
Yes.
So you have a plumbing issue. You could have a drainage issue, like draining water away from the house instead the
Mhm.
water's coming
Mhm.
into the house.
Or going back to that wood fascia, it's rotten, and now they're getting in that, and they're climbing down into your walls.
So the outside is not getting a lot of love a lot of times because people live inside. They don't live outside.
What? Yeah, that's right. We do.
And so
We
you
don't
pay
camp on a
attention-
full-time
you
basis.
pay attention to the microwave not working right, but you're not paying attention to the outside gutter being full of
Stuff. Or the old the gutter is working all fine, except for the fact your lawn guy rolled over the end of it. And so now it's sealed at the bottom because
Yeah.
it's flat instead of open. You hear us? I mean, just check on the house. Walk the house once a month. So much money to be saved. So I need to share with you what compelled Mark and I to bring this to your attention. Like we're sitting here feeding you all the things you need to do and why you should do them. Well, a real life story this week that happened with us is that we found, we were representing the buyers. We found some sellers that basically had been had for the last 10 years. And that is They had saw that there was cracks here and there, and we're like, oh, that's just, the house being a house. Fair enough to a certain degree, but they hadn't taken the time to really investigate. They ignored the fact that their sinks were draining slowly. They had ignored the fact that all their toilets were starting to rock back and forth, and they did all these things. There was just signs everywhere. A fan was suddenly loose and not actually,
Wobbling,
it was
yeah.
wobbling. Anyway, they had a 911 foundation company come out and did a quick $3,000 fix, only to discover that actually what was wrong was that the cast iron pipes had failed, and the house had been asking them for help for a long, long time.
So these are pipes that are going out, moving water out of the house.
So they're not metered.
They're not water coming into the house or water going.
And no one out there is talking about this.
No.
And so we're just like, your house is always telling you what it needs. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. So that is the house that now is looking at $100,000 repipe fix, because it's also going to involve some foundation fix as well.
So in the case of the original issue of the foundation, they probably never asked, why is this happening? Right. So if your fan is wobbling,
why is it wobbling? Don't just go get extra nickels and stick it on the one side of the fan to make it.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, why is it wobbling? Why was it fine last week and it was? I guess that's it. That's a great point, Mark. Ask why. Why are they draining slowly?
I mean, I've had friends who, I mention it to them and they say, oh, we just keep pouring Drano down I'm like, no, you need to ask why.
Why? Are you treating the disease or the symptom?
This is such a big part of your life, not to mention your financial plan for the future. You're causing yourself so much financial injury by not getting to the bottom.
You just had that brand new toilet installed just last year, and now suddenly it's working its way loose. Like, okay, why?
How?
Why is it doing that?
Should be
Why is
happening.
why is my sink not draining clearly, and none of us have long hair in the house? I mean, if you have long hair, there is a reason why probably.
Well, but
if you don't.
But you don't know unless you spend a little bit of money for a plumber to come out and do an inspection and really get cameras down there, and really that cast iron pipe could have been found out if they had called a plumber and said, why is this happening? Can you get to the bottom?
And that's the point of walking the house, of checking the sprinklers, of doing the basic maintenance, because then you are very self-aware. That is, if this thing keeps happening over and over again, right? You've walked a perimeter house, all the gutters are cleaned out, everything is button tight, blah, 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 but yet you wake up at 2 a.m. for a little snack and you see that little roach guy running across your counter. What's going on?
Where's the water?
There's something else going on. So we want you to feel empowered to be in charge. We want you empowered to protect your asset, your savings account. And it's these little things that really can add up to big savings and big wins when you're ready to sell, or those little things that are ignored that can end up costing you tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars when this particular place you call home no longer works, and you need to put it up for sale and harvest that equity and redeploy it to your next amazing new place to call home.
I had a sale recently where a homeowner called me afterwards, and they weren't represented by Bess. It was a different agent. But they found out that there was a foundation issue that caused a plumbing issue. Well, in their case, it was like a $50,000 repair that they didn't know about buying the house. The foundation, they called me and said, well, what should we do? I said, the first thing, hire an engineer. Doesn't work for a foundation company. So the engineer came out and he said, look, this problem 5 years ago would have cost that homeowner $5,000 to fix.
Wow.
And so now they're spending 10 times that to fix a problem that could have been done back then if somebody had paid attention and asked why.
Why.
And not just get somebody out there who says, oh, I'll fix it for you. Okay, great. How much do I owe you? No. Why is this happening? Why? Like you said, the house is always talking to you. So pay attention to what it's saying. If the air conditioning is running nonstop.
No air conditioning should ever be running nonstop.
And I see it so much. I see it often in my friends' houses, right? I'm like, guys, are you paying attention? Oh, no, I'm not. Obviously,
Mhm.
why? Just you're blowing money. You're just wasting money if you're
Mhm.
not paying attention. You do that to your car. If your car starts pulling to one direction, you go in and get in alignment, right?
Mhm.
If the tire blows up, you get a new tire. But why are you not paying attention to your house? I
Mhm.
don't understand. I don't.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's very frustrating as an agent when you show up to list a house that's in shambles and you have to tell the homeowner all this needs fixing before we can even sell it. It's very frustrating because somebody wasn't paying attention while they owned it and just ignored everything.
Well, it's just heartbreaking because
Yeah.
because it
Don't
could
be
have
that
been
homeowner.
$1 and now it's going to be 10 or more.
That's
And
right.
that just
10 times, right?
we always want the best for you.
That's right.
And that's more money in your pocket.
Yeah.
Even though, as we're telling you, all the ways to spend it, that is really the goals.
Right.
Right? There you go.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you again. And like and subscribe and do all the good things.
That's
Drop us a
right.
line.
If you found any help in all this at all,
Yes.
or
Let us
if
know.
you want to join in and just laugh at us all over again, there you go. Subscribe and we'll let you know. Ding,
Bye.
ding.